Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome back to the next fun episode of DevChatter. Give me a second while I adjust audio because we do need to make a couple of changes here. So I'm going to click through on that. There we go. Now you should all have background audio. I've made a couple of changes to the stream and I'm hoping everybody enjoys it. So today we are actually going to continue on with some of the code that we were working on previously. We are back to our standard project, the chatbot that we've been working on. So I hope you are all looking forward to working on that with me. Yeah, so I changed up the HUD a little bit, and we're actually going to be making some other changes as well that I didn't have time to get to just yet. But trying to make a lot of improvements to the stream that I've been meaning to get to for a long time. I've had some stuff that I worked on before that I was trying to improve, and hopefully you all like some of the changes that we've got in here. So to start things off, I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do today, just to give a quick intro so everybody knows what we're planning. And give me 1 second to bring that up onto the screen. And then a couple of other things. Just need to click through on stuff. There we go. Okay. Alright, so hopefully everybody's getting situated and is ready for the stream. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to everybody who's said hi in the stream so far. This should be a good one. Our bot is up and running. Let me just make sure. Yep. Okay, so linking there, just so everybody knows if you are new, this channel is DevChatter. My name is Brendan, and we're going to be writing some code today, and it is going to be a blast as always. The first thing I want to mention is that all of our code is out on GitHub, so if you do want to look at anything that we do here on stream, that is the best place to take a look. And if you ever are wondering how we got to the point we are now, you can take a look at the videos section here on Twitch, or alternately, you can take a look at our older archives which are out on YouTube. So we actually keep archives of all of our videos out there because Twitch only keeps them for a little while. I like the way that Twitch handles our videos for us because you're able to see the chat while you watch, so it makes it a little easier when I respond to things. You can see more easily what people said. Obviously, there is that chat window there on the side that is on the screen that you can see, but I don't want that cluttering things up, so the full chat view is a little better. Okay. I first want to apologize if my voice sounds a little weird. I've got a minor cold that I got from my son, so hopefully that won't cause us too much trouble. Anyway, so what we were working on in our previous episode where we were working on our chatbot is we had this branch. It's called async awaiting because I sort of started it off by adding some async and await features, but I do want to make some changes. I'm going to change the name of this one because we kind of moved away from just doing async awaiting and decided to add a couple more things. So let's go ahead and take a look at what those changes were. So just taking a look at the history here so we can see what we were working on. Looks like we added some storage for the time zone code that we wanted to save. So we're working on our schedule command. So I want to show you this because our schedule command is actually really cool. So I can type in our schedule command and say schedule -4. Now, this is not the primary use case here, but this is more just a test to make sure that things work. So when I type schedule -4, that gives me my schedule at UTC -4, which is what Eastern Daylight Time is in the United States. So it prints that out over there and tells me when the stream is going to happen, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And as Janisku just pointed out, you can also search for a location. And the trick is that Google needs to figure out what that location is. So Janisku tried LAX, which is the Los Angeles Airport. It's Los Angeles International Airport. That's the 3-letter code for it. Well, Google figured out that that meant LA. And so what it did was it printed out Pacific Daylight Time for us. when we asked Google for HEL, which I am guessing is the Helsinki airport, but maybe I'm wrong, that is not one that Google was able to track down for us, so it doesn't give us the location that we're looking for. Okay, so obviously we could put in other places, like I could say, what's a good location to go with? Chicago? So we'll say schedule Chicago, type that in, and it'll come back with Central Daylight Time. I could also do schedule Berlin, and it'll give us Central European Summertime. Now, that's all really great. I love that that feature works. It's actually pretty cool. So you can put in countries, you can put in cities, because we're really just searching the location and doing that. The challenge is this. When I do schedule Berlin, again, it did those same lookups again, and we don't want to do that lookup because we just did it. So it'd be silly to look up the same place 2 times, within a few minutes of each other, let alone, say, a day. Because what time zone you're in doesn't change that frequently. So at least caching it for hours or something like that would be good enough. So that's actually how that feature works. It's really, really cool. I love that feature. Okay, yeah, see, so if you just put in Helsinki, it works fine. So Eastern European Summertime, there you go. So that's what, UTC plus 3, I bet? So, yeah. I was right. So schedule plus 3, there you go. So there's alternate different ways of getting that data. But the only one that does the lookup is if you search for a location. If you just put in a number, we just adjust based on however much you told us to adjust by. It works pretty well. Another feature that we actually want to get in on that is one that we've actually got on GitHub, and I think one of our viewers worked on it, but I haven't heard his progress on it. So if someone else wanted to tackle that, you'd be welcome to. That feature is actually being able to search by time zone. The catch on that one is we want you to be able to put in the time zone you want, but if you chose one that's not currently in use, we want to fix it. So I am in the eastern part of the United States, so that means that I am on Eastern Daylight Time during the summer, and when it's not summer, I'm on Eastern Standard Time. Since Eastern Standard Time isn't used during the summer by anybody, we could know that, at least I don't think it is, maybe it is, we could know which time zone it was supposed to be. So something like that. I love the place search, though. It works well enough. And yeah, the cool thing is it can search a lot of places because it's using Google's searching for that, so it's really neat. Okay, so what we wanted to do is we wanted to build a layer around this that would cache and save these time zone entities. So we created this time zone entity, and I'm going to pull that up so we can take a look at it. And we decided to go with a database-driven approach because we want this data to cache between loads. So there's a few ways we could do that. We already have a database as a data store for our application, so we figured why not leverage that. So we added a data entity object, and it doesn't have all of our data yet because we don't quite have it lined up the way we want it, but we are going to get it to get this data stored in the database. The other thing we did recently, we added a migration for it. So a migration in, oh no, never mind, that's right. So we have this time zones table that we create, and this is what it looks like. So this is the code that's automatically generated for us by Entity Framework and creates the structure for accessing our Entity Framework objects and pulling them out of the database. So it's kind of nice that way. Okay, so let's take a look at our cached time zone lookup right here. So this cached time zone lookup is the decorator pattern concept that we talked about on our last stream where we were doing this. So the decorator pattern, for anybody who wasn't here, is a design pattern that is about essentially encasing one object with additional functionality. So you're sort of decorating it, so it's like you're pinning it on top of the other thing. And the way that you do that is almost by wrapping and adding additional functionality. So we have this interface, iTimeZoneLookup, and if we take a look at that interface, it has this method of requesting time zone info. And when we do that, essentially all that happens is we call out to that we just say, hey, yeah, we understand that we're going to have to do a lookup somewhere outside of our system, so we're going to do an HTTP client call, and we are going to make that use an HTTP client factory for anyone who's wondering. And then there's some lookup value we're going to use against that. So that's like what we're searching for. Maybe that's going to be a time zone at some point. Maybe that's going to be a location. We don't know yet. But it's going to be one of these. And then for this time zone lookup interface, we actually implement it twice. One time is just the cached version, and one time is the actual one that calls out to Google. So this one does the call out to Google, and it's not the greatest code. It's kind of just shoved in here, but it works. The part that's nicer is actually the one that we added last time, which is the cached time zone lookup. And so this one's job is not to do the caching itself, nor is it to do the lookup. This is decorating on the concept that we are going to cache. So that means that it understands that something else does the lookup. So it accepts a time zone lookup object, and this is called our internal lookup. And then the cache layer, oh, give me a break, Mage. This class doesn't look ugly. And then the other piece it takes in, other than the internal lookup, is the cache layer. So this is why I say this one doesn't do the caching, but it understands that we want to cache the data. So it leverages a cache layer and a lookup. And so this is what makes it the decorator pattern, is that it's actually accepting an object of its own type that it's implementing. And that's sort of how it decorates. So anything that could have used a time zone lookup can instead use the cached one without even knowing that there's an additional layer of functionality they're getting for free. And so that's actually what is so cool about this. Okay. So this is actually the method that's currently doing all the magic right here. So essentially what we did is we just said, let me make that a statement body because I think it'll be a little nicer. We just said, call our cache layer and try to get the value, and if you can't get the value, use this as your fallback. And the fallback is going to be to call the internal one. So that's basically saying, hey, go ahead, try to get the data from your cache. If you don't have it, do a full lookup for it. And that's basically what we wrote. So we pass this into our cache layer. So let's take a look at the cache layer right now. So we wrote a cache layer called our EF cache layer, and this is our entity framework cache layer, and it accepts, as we said, a lookup string and a fallback. So the lookup string is going to get passed in to our cache because we just cache based on the lookup string you tried to use. Yeah, Josh. I love local functions. They're quite nice. So I do want to point this out because Josh mentioned it there, and it's actually kind of cool. This is called a local function. So notice that this is basically a function, but minus the access modifier, right? So we just don't have that access modifier, and that actually is what allows us to basically have a method inside of our other method. So this is called a local function. It's kind of neat. It's basically, so there's some similarity to how a Lambda function works in C# for anybody that knows what that is. And the idea is it just lets us store we essentially have a variable that acts like a function. That's the basic concept. So it works pretty well. And welcome, Malakik. Thank you for following, and I apologize for butchering that name, but I gave it a shot. Okay, so our EF cache layer. So what this does is it attempts to pull out of the database our value based on the lookup string. Store that in here. If we didn't get it, it's going to call our fallback method and get the value, and then it is going to create a new time zone object, store it, and return back our value. Thanks, Mage. Way to do what the comment said there. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can make this one work. So, I want to go to our startup and take a look at where we used this. We have 8 references to this. I know I put one in our startup because I wanted to do this. So I added this. But I don't want to do that. I want to... Can I... let's see. Services dot... So I am going to add... Where's my IntelliSense? There we go. This is the one I want. So it takes a function of iService provider and returns back a service. Provider. Get service. I want to get one of these. But that's not actually the value that I want. What I want is, I want a cached one. I want a cached time zone lookup that has that as my internal. And then I want to get an iCache layer. Whoops, it's this one. Okay. And do I have iCache layer anywhere? I don't yet. So what I'm going to do is this. I am going to add a cache layer as an EF cache layer as well. So now we have essentially the structure that we need. So this is a little bit confusing here. I'm going to pull this into a method just because it's a little weird. So I'm going to extract this as a method and I'll explain what it does. So this is going to be register time zone lookup classes. And we'll move this into the correct place later, but I just wanted to get this into a method for now so I could show you just these pieces. So the first thing that I do is I want to add a piece that's going to do the lookup for us. In addition to doing the lookup, we need to have a cache layer. So these are the 2 internal actually doing the job pieces. Now notice that I did not include the interface on this one because I don't want when someone asks for the interface for them to get this one. I want them to get this one. So what I need to do is I need to say I time zone lookup right here. So essentially I'm saying when someone wants an I time zone lookup, I want to give them this one, which is the cached time zone provider. Okay. I think there's an alternate way of writing this, but I don't remember what it is, and this works fine. So we'll clean it up later if we remember how to do that. But now when I restart this bot, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the bot. It's gonna say bye in the chat when I do this. So ideally it will. At least I thought it would. Bot, you're not saying bye. Please say bye. Bot's being difficult. Okay, well, I'll assume that it actually left and just didn't say bye, and we're going to go ahead and start this one up again. So when we start this, we are going to see down in the chat, the bot is going to say hello again. Oh, must have been something with the startup there. Let's go ahead and try that again. Cannot consume scoped service. From Singleton iCache layer. It's not scoped. Lies. DB context options. DB context options. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So I think the problem is that it doesn't want to get us the DB context, but I should be able to get a repository at this point. So we're going to add an iRepository of type, what is our type? Time zone entry, something like that? Time zones entity. Oh, right, it's just an iRepository. iRepository. We're going to call this one underscore repo. And yeah, we'll rename that as well. So now everything's renamed to this, and we're going to say single. And the specification we are going to provide is a base policy, data item policy of type time zone entity dot. Nope. All right, we're gonna have to actually write one. So let's go to our policies. So we're gonna hop over here to our specifications, and we're gonna make a data item policy for time zones. So I'm going to copy this class like so, and we're going to call this a time zone policy. This is going to be a time zone entity. Time zone entity. That is going to be that. We're going to change that. And we are going to say by lookup. Lookup. So now when I jump back to this code, I should have this lookup check that we were using before that I can hide in here now. So now if I put this in its own class, so I'm going to move that to its own file. I now have this simple little class here that has the knowledge of how to do a lookup by time zone policy by the lookup value. And it has things like making sure that we're doing a case-insensitive comparison. So there are some nice changes like that that work pretty well. So over here, instead of using that code, we are going to use our time zone policy, and we're going to say by lookup, and we're going to pass in the lookup value. So this is the code we get instead. So we're going to say repo single time zone policy lookup, and then that's what it's going to get us back. So now if we want to do this, we can say what is this? Create time zone. So we have to adjust a couple of these method names because we were using the DB context before and now we are not. So now we've adjusted to this new one. This no longer needs to be async. So we're going to get or insert time zone, and then we're going to return back that value. This is no longer a task either, because we're not async. So that actually simplifies things quite a bit to remove the async types from that one. And notice that when I just got rid of this, I was able to pull out the dependency on system.link. So that is also pretty nice, because we no longer are doing link in this code, because we call out to our policy, and we let that worry about how you actually get that value. Because then if you need to do things like, oh, we only want to get ones that are active or something like that, or we want to deal with caching or something like that, that's hidden away. And so that is somewhere else. And by caching, I meant invalidation. So some kind of a date lookup as well. Okay, so let's get rid of those asyncs that we're not actually using. Like this one, that we were using for basically no reason. Actually, this might need to be... Is that what we want to do? Task of this. But it itself is not actually async. We're just calling through to an async method that does that. So there we go. Much nicer. That code works pretty well. Okay. There we go. Let's try running it, see if it still crashes, which it may, but we'll see what happens. Hey, there we go. Okay, looks like it worked. I'm going to kill the bot again, because I actually want to check and see if we really did access that from the cache layer. So I'm going to drop a breakpoint right here, and we're going to debug into this. So I'm going to run this with debugging, and we're going to take a look at what happens. Okay, so we did this, and now I want to do a schedule Cleveland. And when I do a schedule Cleveland, I'm just going to hit F5 real quickly. It does come back with the correct time. And now what I want to do is schedule Cleveland again. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step in here. Frankie, there are some significant differences between C++ and C#, although syntactically they are going to look similar. And that is because... Ooh, that didn't work. And that is actually because C# is actually indirectly related to C++. So C++ is an ancestor of C#, you could say. Okay, I want to see what just happened there, because it did our lookup again, and I want to catch us right here and try this again. So we're going to see, did it not store it in the database, or what happened? So we are going into the cache layer here, and we look it up and we don't find one. So we do our fallback, we call out to this, and we get back our result from Google. And it gives us Eastern Daylight Time. We get this, we create a new time zone, we add it. Maybe we're missing something on this item. Lookup string is null. Oh, we didn't set the lookup string. Okay, so we figured it out. We know why it's not working. We didn't set the lookup string. So in here, we have to set that lookup string. So lookup string equals lookup. There we go. Now it should work. You've learned C++, but when you look at C#, yeah, so C# is going to look very similar to C++. One of the reasons why C# is such a nice language is actually because of a lot of the things that it does that you don't have to see. So in C++, so you're going to see a lot of similar things like private methods on your classes, and you're going to see public methods and things like that. And a lot of the syntax is the same as well. Except in C# you don't always deal with the things like the pointers, though they exist, and you can control how they're used to some extent. You don't physically have to deal with them as much, so C# gives you a lot of power without you having to get into the muck yourself. So let me go ahead and I'm going to first off run this task really quickly, and I'm just going to F5 through it this time. There we go. Now I'm going to run it again, because now we should have actually inserted it in the database, I think. So we're going to step in. Did we get the value? We got a value, so we're going to skip it. We're going to return. And it spits out the right result. There we go. Okay, so it looks like our caching is now working. So I want to commit this. So this is going to be wire up the caching of schedule results. So, awesome. We're going to celebrate that. That is fantastic news. So, let's go ahead and get this committed. I'm going to push that change up to GitHub. For anyone who is in here and doesn't know, all of our code is actually out on GitHub. Once I get the bot running, I can actually link it. I just closed it because I didn't want us debugging anymore. But all the code that we write on here is out on GitHub. So you can actually take a look at it as we work on it, or just whatever you want. You can go take a look at what things we are doing. But whether I merge it in now or not, I am going to get us this... Whoa! We got a raid coming in. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully you're having a good day. We are just writing some code here on this nice Thursday afternoon. Hopefully you're here to see some C#. We are programming in ASP.NET Core and doing some C#, so it's been a blast so far. And I am setting up a pull request here in GitHub, adding a caching layer to the schedule command. So we are actually improving our bot right now. And welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. So, for example, let's say that I don't, but let's say that I lived in Miami. I could do schedule my... Oh, hang on. Let me start the bot. Why did I close the bot? Why did I close the bot? Oh, never mind. It went. Okay, there it goes. So... I could say schedule Miami, it comes back with the time. Let's say that I live in Germany. I could type in schedule Germany, and it will tell me the time for that. So you can actually see when our stream is happening with this cool little command. So it's actually a pretty nice one, because it actually does the lookup for where you're actually coming from. So it's kind of neat. So I like that one. And the nice part is, we just finished adding in a bit of caching, so if I do that same one again, I look up Germany, it is not actually going to look up where Germany is a second time. It's actually going to use its previous result. So we just finished adding that in, using the decorator pattern to get that in there nicely. So for anybody who doesn't know, yeah, exactly, Lumi. So the idea is that if you don't, yeah, so and then you get someone trying Antarctica. And so, not that it's difficult to adjust time zones, but if you don't want to actually do that in your head, you can just you know, have it search and it will look it up for you and come back with the location. So it's kind of nice. So that is a good one. I like it. So hooray for that, because it worked pretty well. Yeah, so Mage, the caching actually gets us a couple of nice benefits. One of them is that it should be a little bit faster than actually making the call out to Google to get that answer, because we can do it all locally. But then in addition, the other benefit that we get from using a cache for it is that we don't have to make another request out to Google. And while our numbers are small, the amount of requests we're going to make to Google to make these adjustments, over time, you know, or if you had a really big stream, and if we start wiring in other things to call out to the Google APIs, we could hit some kind of rate limit where they want to charge us. So right now, Google doesn't actually charge us to make that call. So it's small because we're small enough that they don't care. I think we'd have to be making tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of requests, I forget what it is, before they actually even want to hit us with those fees. So, so that's sort of how that one works. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump over to our GitHub project. There we go. And we are going to take a look at what else we can work on. So I'm going to jump over to this, save time zone lookup. This is associated with that card we just put in, adding a caching layer to the scheduling command. There it is. This will be resolved by that. Okay. So now that is wired up. Cannot run private message from background workers. Add a viewers command. Viewers command. I wonder how this would work. Someone wanted a viewers command, so I think this is something that we can actually look at today. So I think the idea with this was suggested. So if we just type !viewers, right now we don't do anything, but it would be cool if we, say, responded back with, say, a, maybe the number of viewers that we currently have, so however many that is on the channel. So let's take a look. So out of curiosity, how many people in here are new to C#? And how many people here are actually C# users? I don't know how many we have in here, because I do a handful of streams. I do a series called Learn to Code in C#, where we actually are just learning, like we're teaching C# instead of just working on code. So if anyone is in here that is interested in actually learning C# from a simpler standpoint and not just diving into like real code that we've got here, but like ground up just building simple applications, for any of you, we are going to be doing, we do a Learn to Code series on here, and that's actually in the events section, and I will link that in chat. And that series, we're going to have our next one this Saturday, and if you are interested, it's pretty easy to get set up. All you have to do is install a few extensions, and you will be able to code along with us. I didn't know that, Janisku, but I have been meaning to do a Blazor stream as well. So the intention was actually to do Blazor as our front-end piece for this application. Okay, so let's start off by building this command. So I'm going to jump over into the commands section, and we're going to make a new class. So I think this one merits it. So viewers, I'm going to make that plural, viewers command. So we're going to create a new class called viewers command. And the viewers command is going to be a base command. We're going to implement our missing members here. So base command gets us a couple of things. It implements an interface for us and also wires up a couple of simple pieces that we want in all of our commands. So let's see. We don't need user role required to be passed in, and we don't need is enabled passed in, because we're just going to say true there. And actually, I don't even think we need to say that, because it should be true by default. So we're going to say role dot everyone. So we'll say that everybody can call the viewers command. I think that makes sense. We don't need a lot of excuse me, we don't need a lot of restriction on this one. So the only thing that this object actually needs to pass in is a repository for data access, which actually I'm not even sure it's going to need that, but we'll give it all the same. Okay. Because having a reference to this isn't a huge cost, so there's not really any loss in having it there. I think that might be there to do the maybe the cooldown lookup or something like that. I think that might have been why I put it on the base command. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is not going to be our final implementation. What I want to do is I just want to send out a message when you call this, and I just want to say, hey, and then eventargs.chatUser.displayName. So we're going to say, hey, we're wiring, nope, I can't type today. Up this command still. Please try again later. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this way is because I want to get my command set up first. So once we get this going, we can basically just run it, and then that's an easy, just, you know, hey, cool, it goes. We don't have to do a lot of stuff with it. Now I want to go down into this project, and game community service collections, Twitch registration, extensions, nope. I guess we just had this just raw in startup. I really need to move these out. I can't believe I didn't pull them out yet. That was silly. The list of things that I just need to get to at some point. Add stream meta commands. There it is. Alright, so we're going to have ibot command viewers command get added into the meta commands. And then once that's in there, I should be able to do this. So I am going to kill the bot. It's going to say bye. Well, no, it's not, because I think I killed it anyway when I did my build. I often forget about that. If I build this project... Zion, too late for what? Oh, yeah, Zion, if you actually are interested in learning how to build websites in C# and .NET Core, I recommend you take a look at my Learn to Code series. So some of the episodes that we do here on DevChatter are at a lower level and start out with the idea that you need to learn C# and .NET. And so we always start our applications from scratch and do simple things. So we are going to be doing some web applications starting soon on that channel, or on that series of the channel. And so if you do want to get set up and get involved in those, there are some tools that you can set up. So you can install Visual Studio Code and .NET Core SDK in order to be able to do some C# with us on those episodes. So they should be pretty fun. So if you are interested, go ahead and give us a follow, and you can actually set yourself reminders if you click on that link to go to the Twitch event. So, and it will give you a reminder of those episodes so that you can show up. So hopefully that sounds good, and we'll be able to show you how to get started with that. Okay, so now that we have this here, viewers should work. So, hey DevChatter, we're wiring up this command still, please try again. So that confirms that my command works. Oh, okay. Yeah, Zion. In that case, I would recommend you just hang out, and you're going to see a lot of how .NET actually works, and .NET Core specifically. So hopefully you're able to use .NET Core. It is much nicer than .NET Full Framework, although both are still pretty good. Someone else want to try calling the viewers command just to confirm that the permissions and everything are working as expected? Okay. So, thank you. That worked perfectly. Awesome. That's what we want to see. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to wire up another dependency. So I want to call out to TwitchLib. So I want to take a look at our TwitchLib classes so that I can see this. So TwitchLib is actually a C# open source project that we leverage, and we occasionally actually get their maintainers here in chat with us. They do like to hang out sometimes. But if you take a look, there's a Twitch chat client, and there's Twitch streaming info services. We have a couple of things. We've wrapped their library because we don't want to actually have to deal with their changes throughout our code. So if they make changes, we want to be able to make changes just inside of this project and not have that go everywhere, because that's code outside of our control. Okay, so the code that I think we're going to want is going to be in the Twitch chat client. Streaming info service. Somewhere I make a call for, what is it, undocumented? There it is. Okay. So here's what I wanted to look up. So in Twitch, there's two things that we could look up. This undocumented call will actually get us everyone who is in the chat for our Twitch stream. So this is one distinction. So get all chatters will get us this data. In addition to this one, there's also, I'm betting, there's a call that will get us just the viewer count number, and not necessarily people in chat. So that's the two different pieces there. I kind of think I want to return back both when you ask for viewers, is the number of people viewing and the number of people in chat, because I have a feeling they're not going to be the same. So I want to do public async task. I am fairly certain we're going to be able to get this way. Get viewer count async. So I want to say return await underscore Twitch API streams v5, and then get featured service uptime. No. Those aren't the ones I want. Streams viewers? No. Games, teams, users. Oh, it could be users. Get check. Communication viewer heartbeat service async. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look it up, because I don't remember what it is. So, let's hop on here. We're going to go to TwitchLib. So, TwitchLib. Viewer doesn't show up. Okay. We're going to look for viewers in this repository. Oh, I meant to look for it not in this library, but in the TwitchLib API, because I'm sure this is where it is. Viewers. Viewers. Top game, stream summary. Stream summary might be it. Stream.viewers. Okay. So let's take a look. So return Twitch API streams. Live stream by user. So that is going to be channel ID from this. Whoops. It goes in there. Then we're going to say dot result stream viewers. And I think that's technically it. So I can say await. I'm going to await this value. I'm going to await it so that we get back stream by user. And then we're going to say stream by user async.stream, and then .viewers. So there we go. That'll get us the result that we actually want here. So we get our viewer count async. So let's take this. We're going to put this in our API, or in our interface here. So we're going to put that there. And we are going to say that this is now part of our interface. So I forget if we implemented this somewhere else. If we did, we're going to go get that really quickly too. But since we did not, we get it right there. So let's see where this got called. In our streaming platform, we called this. Interesting. So streaming platform is the class that we were actually using for this now. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to duplicate this. And instead of returning that, I'm going to return back an int. And streaming info service dot get viewer count. There we go. So now we should just be able to accept a streaming platform inside of our viewers command. So I'm going to do that, including the reference that we need there. And we're going to call that streaming platform. We're going to store that in a variable here. And then we will use this down here to get, whoops, I didn't put it on the interface. Way to go, Brendan. And the streaming platform that we were creating, the goal of this is to sort of wrap together all of the stuff we might want to call in our streaming platform. So the idea being that we might be, so we are on Twitch, but we might want to be on, say, YouTube or something like that. And if we do connect this bot to any other services, we want to have this centralized, you know, you're on a streaming platform, so you want access to the streaming platform data, and so we created this object for that purpose. Okay, so viewers command streaming platform dot get viewer count async, and protected async override void, is that the way that you go for that? Okay. And viewer count. And say, let's see, we currently have viewer count viewers. Okay. Whoops. Protected override async void. We currently have that number of viewers. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. SNB, welcome. Hey. Don't we all always fight with Visual Studio? Welcome to the world of development, where we spend more time fighting our tools and software than we do actually solving the real problem. Hey, there we go. We have 38 viewers. Cool. You're right. We should not pluralize it if it's only one or something like that. But I don't want to deal with that case just yet. Well, S&B, the funny thing about red squiggles is I would often recommend that people just try restarting Visual Studio if you're getting red squiggles for no reason. Visual Studio is kind of a big program, so it can end up with some issues sometimes. Okay, so we're in the viewers command, so we're going to say, let's go ahead and do this real fast. I'm going to hop over here. Let me take a look at our pull request. I'm going to review it really quickly because I do want to get this merged in. The checks are passing, so that's good. That means our unit tests work on that. We're going to want to wire up, like we may want to wire up an integration test for this one. But there's not really anything to unit test, because making sure that your method that has no logic just calls through to the thing it intends to call through isn't much of a unit test. The one thing that we could test is... And, welcome, Fretya. Thanks for following, by the way. So the one thing that we want to make sure that we do when we wire this up is we want to make sure that we handle the error case better than we are right now. So that's actually the one thing that I want to fix. I kind of want to try catch around it, just at minimum, but we'll see on that one. Probably just do a simple one. Spartan Guitar there, which is what I'm guessing your name is, using VS Code instead. Yeah, so on this channel at least, we use VS Code for some of our streams. We do it especially in our Learn to Code streams because it's a little simpler. But I like VS Code and Visual Studio both. They do different things well. For full solution analysis and being able to navigate around and some of the other features, I like Visual Studio better. But I run on this is a pretty hefty computer that I'm running here, so it's able to handle that pretty well. But if I'm working on a more lightweight project, and actually this is lightweight enough of a project, that VS Code is more than enough to navigate me around. So that's sort of the way things work there. Okay. So, let's see, we did that. I want to look at the changed files, added in a cache layer, time zone lookup. We have this in with the lookup message. That in our time zone entity is a new object. We added a new policy for time zone policy. We did a cached lookup, and we did the time zone lookup. And Rick Hodder, welcome. Thanks for following. And for anyone else who wants to make sure that you catch our future streams, go ahead and click the follow button, and you will get notified when we go live. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Okay, so I know that I am the one that committed this, but I am actually going to go ahead and merge this in, just because I don't want this to sit around for a while. So let's go ahead and merge this. And then once that's in there, we're going to delete the branch. And just to be sure, I don't think it got closed. It did not. I'm going to come in here and close that, since we merged in the related issue. And so now that we've done that, the master branch has been updated. And so I want to... before we continue on, and Rigster, thank you also for following. Welcome to DevChatter. Okay, so I want to store this stuff, so I'm going to stash our changes real quickly here, and then what I want to do is I want to pull down the latest version of master. I'm going to go ahead and update that as well. Benrick viewers command. So switching back to our branch that we were on, I want to rebase this onto master. There haven't been any commits, so when I do this, it's just going to update the pointers. It's a little bit of magic. If you don't know Git that well, I will show you all how to do that. SNB, what? What are you complaining about? I didn't have any commits. I could have just rebranched off a master. It's the same thing, except I get to keep my name. What are you worried about, SNB? I have a commit? I didn't think I committed anything. Oh, yeah. There shouldn't be any changes. Oh, I'd already pushed the branch. Okay, I won't worry about it, I think. But it's based on the exact same thing, so it's fine. Yeah, hack the whole stream. Yeah, exactly. Please don't hack the stream. I like the stream as it is. So this is adding a viewers command. Simple viewers command. All right, committed. Cool. Now I mentioned, so I'm gonna do this the easiest way possible first. So first, let Visual Studio reload here, but then my plan is I am going to just wrap a try-catch around this for now. We can make it a little nicer later, but for now I just want to make sure it doesn't fail.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
And Nelson, welcome, thanks for following as well. Welcome to DevChatter, everyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over to the viewers command. Because I don't care, right now, I don't really care where this happened. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to put this code up inside the try block. And I'm just going to say something went wrong. We couldn't get the viewer count. Alright, something went wrong, we couldn't get the viewer count. Sounds good. So I'm just going to do a simple try-catch on that and not worry any further than that. If this fails, then man, we're in a bad spot, and we weren't going to be able to send anything out anyway. Little Fire Studio, welcome. Hello. No, I'm not actually enjoying any thunderstorms, because I'm not in England, but I'm sure there's probably someone else in chat who is somewhere in England, whether they're in the right spot or not. And welcome, C# Fritz and friends. Thank you, C# Fritz, for the auto host. So if anyone was lurking around in there, hopefully you're looking forward to seeing some more C# and ASP.NET coding. And this voice that suddenly just appeared on your computer is me. I'm Brendan. And this channel here is DevChatter, so welcome. And oh yeah, S&B's from the UK. So there you go. So now that we've got that, adding a simple try-catch on the viewer's call. So we'll go ahead and commit that. I'm going to push both of these up to GitHub. I am assuming there's a drought or something going on in parts of England based on what S&B's saying. Oh, okay. Just rolling thunder, no actual rain or anything coming through on it. Alright, so we want to send in another pull request, so I am going to set this one up. If we want to make changes to it, we will. So we're going to say adding a viewers command. And this time, I am going to look up the issue for this one so I get it put in here. So for anyone who doesn't know, so this is issue number 207. Fixes, resolves number 207 with this change. So I want to put that in there. So by saying that it resolves that, GitHub can actually identify the language I'm using. So notice it little underlined the word resolves here. And so notice it says this pull request closes issue 207. So when I complete this, one, it's actually going to resolve that issue as well. So it's actually a really nice feature in GitHub if you guys don't know about that one. It's quite useful. And welcome, Kevin. Thank you for following. At least I'm assuming that's that one Kev Griff is Kevin. Okay. Yeah, and I'm guessing you are the Kevin that I know too. Just gonna go on a limb there and guess that one. Ooh. Oh, the branch is up to date. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought it was suggesting that I needed to update my branch. I was going to be surprised by that. Okay, cool. Welcome. Hey. Welcome to DevChatter. Alright, so we got that added in. Let's take a look at our issues and see what else we can work on. And, I'm guessing Toomey, but maybe it's Taume. Welcome, thanks for following. Little Fire Studio, thank you as well. And, hey, I got a Code Rushed is now hosting us as well, so thank you for that, Code Rushed. Code Rush is actually another channel hosted by a good friend of mine. So let me go ahead and... Oh, whoops, the bot's not running. It's alright. So one of the problems, some of the streams we do here on DevChatter, we are actually... So we are developers, but what I was going to say is that we are writing the bot that we actually use here in the channel live, and so one of the problems we sometimes run into is I will have compiled or something like that, and whenever I compile the bot, it automatically shuts it down, because it's changing the bot that we're actually using. So when we do a stream where we're not working on the bot, I actually have I have an instance of it running and it'll stay live a little bit longer, but sometimes it does go out. A good friend of mine, Mark Miller, just recently started up another coding stream called Code Rushed. And Mark's actually been a guest on our stream here in the past. He's a good friend of mine from long time. He's a guy who works at DevExpress. He's a really interesting personality. He's really awesome guy. He actually streams at the same time that we do here on Thursdays, but he also streams on some other times where he doesn't overlap with us. So if you want, go check out Mark's channel. I linked it there in the chat. And then I also want to give a big shout out to C# Fritz. And C# Fritz is another .NET streamer, does C#, things like that, as you can probably guess based on his name. And that is Jeff Fritz. He's actually a Microsoft employee, and he does an interesting stream as well, and he auto-hosted us just a little bit ago, so I wanted to get him that. And, whoops. So... And then our other host, right there. So we had a few good hosts there. I want to make sure I recognize you guys, so thanks. We really appreciate it on the channel when we get hosts and raids and things like that. So welcome everybody. If you are new, greatly appreciate it. Okay, so we had a couple of things. I want to look through our list of issues so we can decide what to work on, because I was just planning on doing those, but we have a little bit of extra time, so let's go ahead and find something new. AppVar status badge, readme, alias command with parameters, command list ordered by usage data. Hits command enable supporting disabling plugins. Let's see. You know what? There is a bug that we currently have. So we moved our bot from being a console application in .NET Core to being an ASP.NET application, and when we did that, we took all of the various pieces of that. We took all of our automation, we moved that over to ASP.NET, and we changed the way it worked. And when we did that, we switched to using a new system to handle that automation for us. So we had just rolled our own. It worked pretty well. We probably could have kept with that, but we were like, let's try a more full-featured approach. And so we put in something called Hangfire. And we use Hangfire now to do our automation. There's a couple of challenges with it. I want to take a look and see if we can't fix up those bugs that we've got. So let's go over to our Hangfire automation system. We're going to open this up. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, so SNB actually did a thing that we're planning on doing on this channel. So right now, this Hangfire automation system that we've got here is living inside of our web project. We want to get this moved out to an external library as well at some point. So we may talk to S&B about that and what challenges he ran into there, because we don't like having our infrastructure dependencies inside of our main project, so we try to shift those out. So if anybody is interested in that, you could take a look and maybe send us that as a pull request if you wanted. But those are the types of things that we do. So notice over here that I've got 3 different infrastructure projects in the solution, way up there in the top right corner there. And those are Entity Framework, the Google API calls that we make, and Twitch. And these are the 3 infrastructure pieces that we currently use. We should also probably have Hangfire as a separate thing, just to keep it separate. It's not really infrastructure, but it's a concern that's a dependency that we don't want to have muddled into our code too much. So that's also why we built it into this iAutomated action system. It got a little tighter than we wanted, but it worked-ish, so not super keen on it, but we got what we could out of it. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. So I'm going to run this in debug mode. The bug that we were running into is that some of our background processes weren't running when they should have been. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up one of our games, because our games are currently broken because of this. So I'm going to start up our rock, paper, scissors game. Now what should have happened when we did that, and actually, let me go ahead and hop over here. I'm going to delete this. That's not one we care about. So it says it has 4 jobs that failed. Okay, so it's JSON serialization. These are old ones. Let's delete those. We have 2 scheduled jobs. In a few seconds, it's going to send out a message, it says. I'm not sure I believe that. Okay, so it looks like what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to send out a message that says only 30 seconds left to join. And it looks like it's going to try and create a Twitch chat client to do it. So if it fails, I'm pretty sure that's the reason it would fail. And then this one, this says it succeeded. I'm not sure I believe that. Does anyone else believe that? I don't believe that. I don't see it in the chat. It didn't say it. This is a lie. What happened? Okay. So, clearly something didn't work there. Actually, if you can use HTML, you can probably code, Gerald.
What a lovely day!
Yeah, Blub, that's correct. It is using its own instance, and it doesn't use DI for it. So there's a way to do that. And welcome, Jesse Skinner. Thanks for following. Hopefully that means you're enjoying DevChatter. Let's go ahead and, whoops, not pause, stop. Okay. So here's what I want to take a look at. I'm going to go over to the rock, paper, scissors game, which I think is where we created those actions. Yeah, S&B. If you know how to do that, that would be a nice assistance. Because I don't know how to do that one. So we add this and that. And welcome the Sirius. That's my guess on how to pronounce it. I apologize if I butcher yours or anyone else's name, but thank you for following. So, for Hangfire, S&B, if you do know how to inject the dependencies in it, I would love to know. Because I actually don't know for Hangfire how to do that. Hangfire dependencies. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Because I need to give it my chat client, because it's going to need it. Queue, background job and queue, email sender, that. An organization that creates an instance. So let's add it. If you want the class to be ready for you. Yeah, okay. Hangfire uses the job actuator class to instantiate the target before invoking this method. You can override it. Here perform a company. Oh, this would work. Folder, Hangfire. Okay, so we're gonna make class 1 really quickly, and then I'm gonna fix this name. I think I'm just gonna use my IOC container because I think that will work for us. Hangfire will use the DI container to get the thing. You just inject your class again. Hangfire will use the DI container to that class I set up. I'm not doing this here. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course that can be read-only. But the question is, which iContainer is this using? System component model iContainer? But they were probably using a different iContainer? That's not the container that I want to have. I want to have a different container. That's the only iContainer it knows about. Great. Let's go out here to startup. What is this one called? Where's our service provider? Down here. iService provider. So that's the one we want. Get service by type. Let's rename this file to match the type name. Excuse me. Sorry about that. There we go. So you're saying, S&B, if I do an what is it? Action scheduler? I don't know, that's yours. You just pass that in. S&B is, I guess I'm confused by what that is, because I don't know what that one is. But if that's your own class, then I don't have a good way of using it. I mean, that's basically like this, and I pass in the types here. But I have chat clients here, which should have been getting passed in, been made available in this. But either way, let's take a look at what the documentation suggests here. Okay, so so inside of startup, maybe. Right around here. Let's see. What did we have? That might actually work. Yeah, so S&B, I think that works basically the same way that mine does, because I also have it getting passed in here inside of this chat clients object. It's the resolution of something else that seems to be the problem. I'm not sure. Zultralord, thanks. Not sure which channel buttons you're talking about, but appreciate it. We can talk about it later, S&B, and maybe you can help me make mine a little bit nicer. Maybe you can figure out what I'm doing wrong. If so, I would appreciate it. But I'm betting I'm connecting mine a little bit differently, because I'm not using the object, I'm using the static methods on it. Because we sort of just wired it together while reading the documentation on the stream. So, we didn't actually get it wired up all that well. I need to go back to it and nice it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and give this a shot, see if everything breaks, or whether this works. Oh, you talking about the panels down below? Yeah. I think we've had those for a while. And, okay, so the bot is in here. Let's see what it does when we call that. Alright, I need to figure out what's wrong with those ones, but I'm hoping this one works. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad you like them, Zultralord. I think they're pretty nice. So what Zultralord's talking about is, here on Twitch, down in the panels below the stream, there's a bunch of other information about different things that you might be interested in regarding DevChatter. And John McBride, welcome, thanks for following. So, Exhibitioner, Hangfire is actually an automation tool. So we originally in our project had our own like homebrew automation piece that managed some things, but Hangfire is supposed to be a little bit better at that, and actually has like retries and can survive application restarts because it stores it in a database and things like that. I kind of like some stuff about it, but we'll see what happens with it. If we can't make it work as nicely as we want, then that's a good description, Spartan. That's a good description. Yeah, I thought we were gonna get it. Yeah, one of these days I might give up on it and just go back to our homebrew automation. And Zultralord, yes, I do have a blog and a website. I have various internet things. including this one, which doesn't have much on it just yet, but there is that. So, okay, so clearly the bot's not going to respond with that hangfire response there like we were hoping for. So, I might end up just giving up on it. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a new branch. And actually, I'm going to branch off the viewers command for now. Yeah, so there's one of these in a lot of... There are all kinds of examples of pieces that'll do the automation for you, of like managing background tasks and things like that you wanted to get in there. And yeah, so one of the problems I ran into, as Kevin mentions there, it breaks down if it tries to call like private methods and things, which was really a weird concept to me. Like, I didn't get why it couldn't call a private method as a background process. I was very confused by that. Because I guess I don't know what they wired in behind the scenes. So... delayed message action calls through to this. Delayed message action should work. Really should work. No scheduled jobs. It says it succeeded, but we got no chat. Okay, well, in that case, I think I'll plan on nuking it the next time I'm messing with stuff. Because it didn't seem to work any better with that one. So, alright, we'll toss that. Sorry, thing. You go by. Okay. There should be a reasonable alternative to Hangfire that we can get away with. Someone was working on that. Time zone by abbreviation, wheel spin, command, and overlay. That could be a fun one. Alright, so we're going to go this route instead. So I'm going to give us a new branch off of this one, and I want to say Benrick. We're going to go mess with overlays again. Yeah, we actually could create one, Kev. As Kevin's suggesting, there's actually a reasonable process that we can actually do. So ASP.NET Core actually provides us a nice way of doing that. So it actually has this concept of a hosted service that it might actually be the thing to leverage to actually make our own automation piece. So we could take a look at that, because that's actually what our bot is running as right now. Couldn't you make a similar thing and interact with it with Twitch via the HTTP request? Oh, so Exhibitioner, we actually used to run our own automation system. Yeah, and Kevin, this is really, really new. It's actually what our bot's actually running as. So when we hit commands and things like that, so if we run any command in our bot, the only reason that works is actually because our bot is running as a hosted service in the background of ASP.NET Core. So this is a really, really new thing. Basically, we just register ourselves as a hosted service. ASP.NET Core identifies us as one of these, automatically creates this class using its dependency injection to give us these objects we need, these dependencies. And then when the application starts it, and when it stops it. So it's kind of cool. So the bot is back in here. So all these commands that we run, things like, the coins command, things like that, or the viewers command, The only reason that these actually work is because it's running as a background service. So that's how ASP.NET is able to respond to our messages in the chat. It's actually always connected to it. So it's actually kind of neat. Okay. But I want to work on this overlay because I think it's a little more interesting and fun. And I want to, like, I'll probably switch us back to a very simple automation piece outside of the stream, and then maybe on stream I'll do some episodes where we actually go and build our own more full-featured automation system again, kind of like our old one, but a little bit better, and able to run in ASP.NET. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so first things first, I want to take a look at our pages. Those are those. Where's our overlay? Bot admin, we don't have one. So let's go ahead and add in a new Razor page. And the Razor page fun fact, I've been trying to learn the past little while. It's the first time working with ASP.NET, and I've been working on a bot that has web dashboards. It's very basic, but if published it on Azure, can I link? Zultralord. Let me try. I don't know whether or not that's going to let you link or not. I forget if I have Nightbot set up to allow the permit command, but you can give it a try. If not, yeah, you just get... this is not a private connection, it says. But anyway, that's where it is. I'll take a look at it at some point, Zultralord. Okay, so... overlay. Yeah, go toss it in Discord. I'll take a look at it at some point. Okay, so this adds a page for us. Now, I am going to do something over in Streamlabs OBS that you guys won't see. Because I'm not going to toss Streamlabs. Well, I guess I could toss Streamlabs on the screen, but that'd get weird. I'm going to add a browser source. Let me go ahead and run the application again. Okay. Oh, I did not set up overlay correctly. So we're going to say... So hang on, let me put this overlay on it. It's going to look messed up at first, so I apologize about that. 1920 by 1080. I'm going to cover the full screen with this thing. This is going to look messed up, so I apologize for that. Okay, so now you guys should see some absurdity on the screen there. Because you should actually see this page showing up there. But I don't want it to show the way that it is. I want to change it a little bit. Oh yeah, Zultralord, of course. I've been planning on having an overlay on the stream forever. Just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, we actually already have a website, so our website already does control the bot. And yeah, S&B, this is OBS that's putting it, so like you all should see some weirdness on the screen right now that I want to get rid of. So what we're going to do is this. I didn't actually create this correctly. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to delete that page real quickly. And I'm going to add Razor page, and I want to say overlay again. But this time I do not want to use a layout. And I think that will blank it out for us. Because I don't want the basic structure on it. So layout's null, there we go. So now when I refresh this, now here's the challenge. I'm not sure how to get that object on the screen to refresh at the point that I want it to. So there it goes. It's gone. We refreshed that. So there's nothing on here. Title is set to DevChatter bot overlay. And here in the body, I'm just going to do an H1 really quickly, and I'm going to say this is the overlay. So now this shouldn't refresh because I think we have to use JavaScript now to get anything to change on here. I think that's what's going to be required in order to get this to actually refresh without me clicking a button. Okay, so we've got some annoying text up there above my head there that you can see. It just says this is the overlay. So that just shows that we can get it up there. So that's what we wanted. Okay. We don't have anything interesting running in this project yet. So adding the overlay page. Okay. Now the next thing that I want to do here is I want to go into NuGet, and I want to adjust our dependencies on this web project real quickly. We have updates. I'm not going to download that update just yet. I want to get SignalR because I think that that is going to be the best way to get this connected. So I am going to add in... Is this SignalR core? Is SignalR core already in here? I forget. Does anybody remember? Folder. Hubs. I'm going to make a class just to find out. What's a good name for a hub? GitHub? No, just kidding. Bot hub. Yep, core SignalR is in here, so we're good. We did bot hub. Good enough. Core, just core is not an. Is that that might be true, Kevin? We'll find out though. I was thinking we could get away with just this. We have another project that's using the new core one. What's Hubby McHubface? Is that like what Fritz did or something? So Zoltra Lord, to explain what SignalR is for anyone who doesn't know, SignalR is actually a library that okay, so it was Fritz that did it. Sounds about right, S&B. So essentially what SignalR does is it gives us a persistent connection between client and server without having to deal with all the various versions of connections that we could be making. So if, for example, we're able to use WebSockets, SignalR will just let us use WebSockets. If we can't use WebSockets, it'll fall back to less persistent communication methods all the way down in like a step tier sort of approach. And so the idea is that whether we're connecting from a browser or something like that, it lets us have persistent communication between these 2 points. without us having to write the WebSocket code ourselves. So essentially our JavaScript can talk to our C# in real time. So it's good if you want to make a chat application or something like that, but in our case, since we want to be constantly having the bot be able to update the screen, I don't want the screen to be like long polling the website all the time to be like, hey, do I have an update? Do I have an update? Do I have an update? So SignalR lets us get around that nicely by just making a connection, so it works pretty well. But I do want to take a look. So Decision Hub, here we go. It's just a hub. Microsoft of course, SignalR Hub. Okay, so it was in... I just want to check and see what was required in terms of the NuGet dependencies in order to make this work. Looks like no extra dependencies. So, and this SignalR works. So, cool. In that case, I'm not going to add in anything extra. I'm just going to use that. And let me steal this code, because why not? I'm right there. This is not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to call through these. We're not going to request a move. We are going to... So when it calls up to us... actually, do we need it to call to us? It doesn't need to call to us. We only need to call down to it. Do we ever send it anything? Let's say ping. So we'll send to ping response the word pong when we got it. So essentially I'm just going to make this so that we have a ping method, not because we need this long term, but because I want to have a way of verifying that the communication actually happened. So that seems useful to me. So let's see if we can make it work. And actually, I didn't need that I didn't need that here. Why do I need it? Why did I need that there? Okay, I didn't. Cool. All right. So next thing we need, because it is new, so plenty of us have worked with SignalR before, and I think Kevin's probably in the same boat. SignalR and SignalR Core are not actually the same thing. They changed SignalR to make it run with Core, and that's actually why it's built into .NET Core now as well. So is Ultralord. So I do the DevChatter stream as a hobby, but the amount of time that I actually put into the stream, it would pretty much qualify this as a part-time job. Although I don't actually make money from doing it. That's not to say that I wouldn't stream full-time if I actually ended up, you know, being able to turn this into something more, but I would gladly stream full-time. That would be really fun. But obviously, I make, like, basically negative lots of money with this stream because I've spent so much more money on equipment and everything to be able to do this and do it nicely than I could possibly have made by this point in streaming. So no, it's not I wouldn't call it a job by any stretch. It's definitely a hobby. So best way to support the stream is probably subscribing, cheering. At some point I was planning on setting up a Patreon, but I don't have that yet. I mean, I think I technically do, but I don't actually do anything with it. So glad you guys enjoy the stream though. Hopefully other people enjoy it as well. So SignalR Core is what we want to look up. And the reason I want to pull this is because you don't talk to it exactly the same way that you did before. Oh, hey, that's funny. I'm trying to get Rachel to be a guest on the show at some point, and here we're reading an article from Rachel. So, Alright, so it wants me to set up NPM, which I haven't actually installed yet. So we'll go ahead and do that first. We're in the web project, npm install. Warning, no such file or directory, source package.json, that's warning, remote exception, no description. Okay, so I need to add all the files that I need. Yeah, I know. Using our client JS is really good, and you know more jQuery dependency. Oh yeah, Kevin, not having the dependency on jQuery is a nice one. Okay, so whoops. Can I not run this in Visual Studio? Why is it saying to do this in Visual Studio? Okay, so I need to fix that. That's fine. Whoa, Ultralord. Why wasn't there an announcement of that? Because you just spammed all the emotes. But that's pretty awesome. Thank you for the tier 3 sub, I assume. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, so warning, no description. Yeah, okay, that's great. I don't care that I don't have a description. I know I don't have all my metadata in place. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't know why it's worrying so much. Okay, so let's take a look. Yeah, Janiscu. Dinosaur Hunger Games. Exactly. And don't worry, everybody. There will be more fun dinosaur stuff coming to the DevChatter stream in the near future. Don't you worry. Our dinosaur fun is just just getting started. Yeah, I agree, S&B. It would be nice if someone just set these up as NuGet packages that would pull in the JavaScript dependencies and everything like that. I see no reason why NuGet can't do that same stuff, and then we wouldn't have to deal with having NuGet and NPM. But NPM manages a different set of libraries than NuGet, so there's some advantage there. Okay, how to download. That is hilarious. Alright, let's just force this dependency in then, since it doesn't want to write it. Why would it write this in? What was the error that we got? Oh, that's behind my head. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to open up this project. DevChatter bots. Source. Yeah, that's one of the annoying things, is NPM is just known for filling up your project with tens of thousands of files. Lovely. Alright, interwebs, help me out here. There we go. Oh, you just ignore the warning. Well, I just got rid of the warning, so there we go. Now what I don't get is it doesn't look like it actually installed it, though. Let's find out. Did it? Oh, it got it. Okay. Don't think it actually put this here, though, but we'll find out. Let's get rid of that. Yeah. Why is it telling me that I can put it there? Because as far as I know, there's nothing that's actually pulling it in. I guess we'll find out. Alright, just to sort of hack it in here, let's just do this. Wait, that's not the one I want to build. This is what I need to put on the other side. This goes in my C#. Wait. New hub connection builder. Oh, it's at, what did I call it? Bot hub.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Oh, Zoltralord, we actually do use TwitchLib for this project. So if you'll notice inside of this, inside the dependencies, you'll notice we are using TwitchLib over in our Twitch repo. Some of the maintainers of TwitchLib used to show up here every once in a while. So, yeah, I haven't seen them around in a while, but they did show up here pretty regularly for a while. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I need to add that I don't think I did, so I'm going to go to the startup method. I know I need to services add SignalR. And I believe I do that after MVC, yep. Add MVC, I don't need to add cores. Configure app, use SignalR. So we're going to put that in here. This is going to be bot hub. And it's going to be at bot hub. Use MVC, it should be use browser link, static files. There we go. Okay. So how will the TwitchLib bot interact with the ASP app? Oh, so Zoltralord, we are calling TwitchLib actually from our DevChatter background worker. So inside of this class, which it's called in here, we have access to some of the TwitchLib library classes. So that's actually how we're doing that. Excuse me. And sorry everybody for my coughing and everything. I've got a little cold that my son gave me. So, happens. All the children pass around the sicknesses. Yeah, he's mostly over here. He still has a bit of a cough, but he's mostly over his bogs, and I appreciate it. I'm hoping, hoping he feels better soon, too. Alright, so we don't have that. Okay. Yep. Yep, that's in there already. We did that. Create a new folder. What? What? Why would I do that manually? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Why would I do this manually? Yeah, see? See? Thanks, Kevin. So copy dist browser. So I'll copy those files, and then I am going to move them over into www root lib and paste them in there. Alright, I do not need them open. Thank you, VS Code. How did you know that I wanted you to open those? Because I didn't. Thanks. Yeah, S&B, there's a couple of things I need to set up here that I don't have set up right now that are things that I'll probably do off stream. Quiet Challenger, that's the same thing I was thinking. That's silly that there's not a, like, that's not just built in. That, I think, is why people were commenting that they wish that NuGet just included this, and would just manage that dependency for them, so you don't even have to add in the second package manager of npm. But we'll see. So now when I build this solution and run it, in theory... Okay, there we go. Reload this page. Wait, was it not SignalR.js? Did I get that name wrong? Inside of lib, SignalR.js. Oh, SignalR folder. Whoops. Now the funny thing about this is Visual Studio is so nice about collapsing that for me that the idea of even having the SignalR folder doesn't seem all that valuable. Yeah, thanks not for Benny. No, it should work. Hooray, there we go. No more 404, we now got a 200, so awesome. Okay. So now we have our overlay, and yeah, we're not using the right stuff, and don't worry about it for now. Configure logging, start, okay. Let's take a look, see over here. JavaScript client. Yep, don't want that. Where is... Call client methods from hub. Connection on receive message. There we go. Let's hop over here. So let's just, as I said, we're just going to hack this in here for now. I don't want it to be receive message. What did I call it? Ping response? We're just gonna have that message, which actually encoded message. We're actually just gonna do this. Create a list item, get message list. Did she say to create a message list somewhere? I mean, I can make one. That's so weird. Okay, so we're assuming that a message list exists, so I will go make one really fast. So inside of our body, we are going to have an unordered list, and we're going to give it an ID of that. So we're going to get it, append a child of that message. So message plus, what is it? What is it? It's just new date time or something, right? I won't worry about it. We're just gonna do message for now. We'll see if we can get it in here. So that's connection on ping response. We do that. And then, so that's how we send the client, call client methods from the hub. So that's that one. Call hub methods from the client. So this is the one we want here. So we are going to say send a message note. We're going to call it ping. We don't need to send anything else with it. We expect to get back pong. So we're going to call this once and expect to get a response. So let's try reloading and see what happens. I don't see it. Oh, did I put in, it's called bot hub. connection ID required. Just to remove the errors, I'm going to do that. Okay, in that case, let's put this inside of a method. As I said, we're just going to hack this together really quickly here. Call it after page load, maybe? Yeah, that's what I was going to do is this. I was going to wire it up to a button on, like a buttons on click, so that I can click it multiple times. Ping it. Let's see what that does. All right, debugger. Let's see, are we actually even calling that? Or am I crazy? I'm crazy. Green-Eyed Dandy, welcome, thanks for following. Ping response message list. Oh, whoops. Well, I figured out why that wasn't getting called. There we go. Okay. Ping and pong. There we go. Perfect. Excuse me. Ping, 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 ping. Perfect. So the cool thing is that that's coming down from the server. So our client and server communication is set up. We have our pinging and ponging going on here. The real question now is whether I can wire that up to be automatic and doing some interesting things. So now what that means is from the server we can call down to the client and do stuff. So that's neat. So now we know that if we contact that hub, we can actually use it to effect some kind of change on our screen. So that is actually what we are trying to do. So this is going to be wire up basic SignalR ping pong. There we go. Fantastic. Okay. So we don't actually want that button and the pinging and anything like that. That's not, this isn't actually what we want to have. We want some other kinds of triggers, and we also want to pull this code out to be something a little nicer than our JavaScript here, because this is kind of cruddy. Our original plan was to set this up with Blazor, but we have confirmed that our hub works. So we might go that route. Alright, so our overlay is working. Is it refreshing at all? No, I don't think it is. Oops. Alright, push that up. So hooray SignalR. Hubs, bot hub. So we call this from the client. So what kinds of things do we want to display on here now? The other question is, how do we get access to our hub? So let's do this. I'm going to make a new method on here. I'm going to call this one hype. I'm going to make a display message down in our overlay page. So we're going to have display message, add a message to that list of messages. So once we do that, we should just need to call this now from the website, or from the application. So let's make a new command. What's a good command to just wire this to? I guess we could just make a hype command. Hype command. This will be a base command. We will not have those. This on its own line. Role required. Everyone can do this. It's enabled by default. It needs access to that hub. Bot hub. Ooh, I can't get it here. So I need this wrapped in something. So I need some kind of interface for this object in order to be able to pass it in as dependency and use it there. 1 second, everybody. Now, I overlay display. I think I know what that... I think I would understand what that is. For now, since I don't have a better spot to put it, I'm going to make an interface for the I overlay display. And I'm going to give it the hype command. And it's just going to have a hype method for now. And then that is implementing that interface. So now here, I overlay display. So what this is going to be, we're going to store this as a read-only private field. And then in here, when we handle this command, we're going to call the hype method, and then we're also going to call the chat client. Send message. We're getting hyped. Hype. There we go. Alright. So now this command should say hype in chat when we run it, and it should attempt to run that. Now the first thing that we're going to run into is it's not going to be able to resolve this dependency, because it's not going to know what to use for this dependency, because we don't have it set to auto scan for dependencies. So because of that, we're actually going to have to put this one in here. So let's do this. What does this come in as? Alright, I'm going to try putting it in like this, although I'm not a big fan of how that's going to work. But let's see if it breaks everything, and if it does, we'll fix it. If not, then cool. So let's give it a shot. Okay, so the bot says hello. Let's reload the page. It looks like it doesn't even want to do the hype command at all. Oh, hype command isn't registered. That's why. Duh. That was dumb, Brendan. Way to go. Hype command. There we go. Which means this needs to happen pretty early. Alright, let's find out if the hype command works now. Hype. No display though. Display message hype. Yeah. That should have worked. At least I thought it would work. Display message. Message. Actually, you know what? Does that even need to be There we go. Because we're just calling this from up here. We're not calling that from down there. We're just literally calling this and expecting it to happen. We can serialize that. So we're going to do it because it takes out a bit of the question here. I'm just going to remove a variable, remove a little bit of complexity, simplify that, try and make this work first off, because we want to figure out, is this a problem with how we set up our overlay, or what's the deal here? Because that didn't work as we expected it to. Whoa! Hype didn't even respond? Alright, we're going to do this then. Okay, we're on the overlay. Let's make sure that we're debugging. Okay, so we can see that got called. Hype. We're in here. It sends hype to the screen. Comes in here. It says there are no clients. That must not be the right object. It's not the right object. That's the problem. When we did our startup, it gave us a new instance of Bot Hub instead of the existing one. Okay, inject SignalR hub. Dependency inject SignalR hub. Okay, now the question is this injecting into it or injecting it? Yeah, see, that's not the one I want. I want the reverse of this. Actually, that's not the worst. Wait a minute. That might be the way to do it. I'm gonna put this using at the top. Oh, I don't have it over here, son of a... I'm gonna temporarily move the hype command over to here into our SignalR folder. This is not where I want it to live. Don't like the way that's going with iHub clients on the bot hub like that. Inject SignalR hub. The other problem is I really want SignalR core hubs. There we go. Can I call a SignalR core hub method from a controller? There we go. Ah, okay. So I'm supposed to do it as this. So we'll say display message string message is what we want. So then inside of our hub, we're going to say send message So then in theory, this goes into our command like this. So instead of chat hub, it's bot hub. And instead of this, it's I overlay display. And then that's our context. We're going to go ahead and save this as a field, which I still don't think this is going to work quite right because I don't think we're creating it at the right time. Floodgris, hey, thanks. Glad you like it. We got a few new changes and a bunch of new, panels have changed down below, other things like that. So welcome back. Glad to see you're here. And welcome everybody else who stopped by today. I really appreciate it. Feel free to chime in with the chat. I'm watching the chat, so I'll respond if you have questions about what we're doing, what we're working on, what my current thinking is as I try to make this thing work. What we are writing right now is we are building some new commands into our chat bot. We're trying to add some commands that'll mess with the overlay that are going to be on our screen. So we're not currently displaying those right now, but that is the goal. Yeah, sorry, Quiet Challenger. I will have the commands command back up once I get the bot running again. I just have to make a couple of changes here. So we added that. I need to hop over here. I need to make sure, okay, display message is what we called it. Should add the messages to the list. And then over here, it's not one of these. I'm gonna try just getting rid of that for now and see what happens. But the nice thing, Quiet Challenger, is our commands command can be called by a lot of different names because we have aliasing on our commands. So once I get this running, I'll show you what I mean. And for anyone who is interested, that's assuming this runs, because it might, yeah, see. Because it doesn't know the type to wire up that dependency, so we're gonna have to tell it about this one, I think. I was hoping it would just figure it out. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool to know. Thank you for the heads up. So that means on this, yeah, so that just has to be okay. Let's find out if this works this time. Maybe it just will. Okay, so the bot's back in here. So Quiet Challenger, you'd tried typing in commands. You can actually do commands, you can do CMDS, you can do CMD, CMD, and they all do the same thing because we have aliasing in here, so it's actually quite nice for that. But let me go ahead and try hype. Cute Cat, hey, welcome. That's a new Cute Cat. Did you lose access to your account or something? I think I remember you mentioning something about that. So is the hype command even listed in our commands? Commands? Huh, interesting. Yeah, so if anybody is wondering, if you want to see our old videos from the early part of the stream, so you want to see how our projects got started, things like that, you can check out our YouTube out there. And all of our source code is actually out on GitHub as well. And a bunch of us actually chat in Discord. So if you want to talk with any of the DevChatter viewers, check out our Discord. I just linked it there. You can also probably find a link down below somewhere. but a lot of us chat there, so a lot of good stuff there, good discussions. So people interested in programming, C#, .NET, there are non-.NET programmers there as well. But obviously the stream we mostly do C# and .NET Core and things like that, so it's pretty common. Hype command. Hype command is registered. So I am going to debug this. We're going to find out what's going on here. Okay. Whoops. I'm going to open up the overlay page. Okay, so the overlay page is here. Just to confirm everything's working, we're going to call the commands command. Now I'm going to call the hype command. It's like it didn't even find it. Whoops. Meant to open up this table. Command words. Let's view the data. So this is actually our table that shows us all these. Bottom one should be the hype command, responding to hype. Oh, that's the problem. Found it. Alright. I'm going to delete that row. I know the problem. It got confused. That's because I did something weird here. Unseen NRG, welcome. Thanks for following. Hey, welcome. Alright, so we're going to do overlay. I'm going to bring up the debugging tools there. Let's try running that. And then hype. It didn't create it.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
And Quiet Challenger, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Much appreciated. Please do enjoy your DevChatter hype emote. And right now you're going to get a star next to your name here on the channel, but pretty soon, once Twitch allows us to do custom subscriber badges as affiliates, we'll be getting you a nicer subscriber badge. So instead of having a star, we're going to get one custom for us. It already exists, but I can't use it yet because Twitch doesn't let me. But we will get that going soon. So hopefully you enjoy that one. Bot hub, iDisplay, iHub context. Yeah, sorry, Cute Cat. Nightbot's still here. Does not let people post links. So, no, Cute Cat, we don't let anybody post links in here. There it is, Ultralord. Thanks for the tier 3 sub, much appreciated. I'm surprised, I know you did that a while ago, I don't know why it just came in. I just got the notification from that, but I think you subscribed an hour ago, so I don't know why Streamlabs was so slow with that one, but greatly appreciate it. Please enjoy a big pile of awesome emotes. Okay, let's see. And, this is Jackie's, I'm guessing, and I apologize if I butchered that, but welcome, thanks for following. Yeah, see, as Ultralord, you actually get the, you get the fail emote. The dinosaur of frustration. Okay. What can we do with this one? So, hype. So this is not getting called. Did it recreate that row? when I did this? No, it didn't. Well, I can manually insert the record if I need to. Yeah, it doesn't want it in there. Alright, we'll add it in manually. I'm not sure what went wrong. It was the fact that we moved it, I know that much. So, over here, we're going to put this in here with hype command. Over here needs to be hype. Now I need a GUID. Create GUID. Copy GUID. Home and delete. There we go. Now that should work, in theory. Yeah, we'll just pretend that hype command worked. There it goes. Okay. So now hype command is actually triggering. Let's find out what happens when it tries to do this. Random completion async. It's not calling down to that right now. Makes me wonder if that's the right one. Let's call it again. Connections, 0 connections. There we go. Okay, so whatever object we got here isn't the right one because there aren't any connections. So why didn't we get any connections, I wonder? It was able to get us the type. Let's take a look at our JavaScript. Hub connection builder, bot hub. I'm going to put our ping command back on this. So I'm going to open up our bot hub here. And I'm going to have ping, takes no message, and just passes back Hong. Hang on. I saw your message there, but give me 1 second before I respond to that. Button on click my function. Okay. Ping it. Okay. Let's try this. So we're going to run this. We're going to go ahead and call the... I'm going to refresh the overlay page again. Okay, so that actually is working. So our ping and pong is working. But when I do hype, it says hype... Oh! Hey! It worked that time. Why did it work this time and it didn't work the other times? Maybe we need to connect once first. Maybe we need to call in with the ping first to make sure it's actually connected. Yeah, so you guys can now type hype and it'll add a hype onto the row there. So... well, that is something at least. Okay. Worth a commit, I would say, because it did function. So, hooray. Cool. All right. Yeah. You haven't touched .NET since 2011. Well, this is actually .NET Core, so this is actually the cross-platform .NET that you could run this. This whole application actually runs on Linux, runs on Mac, runs on Windows. Nothing about our bot here is specific to Windows, so it's actually kind of cool. So, welcome to new .NET. It's quite nice. I assume you just changed jobs and started working with PHP, the Guardian. It's possible, Ultralord. .NET Core is actually quite lightweight and fast. So... okay, so we're going to need to actually do like real JavaScript at some point and not just that hacked stuff that we put in there for now. But that will be for another day, because I don't want to get to that one just yet. Brah, goodbye stuff. Okay. Also, posting links in here before I forget. As usual, I tossed a handful of links over there in the chat. Please feel free to check out any of those. Alright, I don't like where we had to put this in order to get the hub context. You did .NET in high school and college and your first IT job. Well, that makes you younger than I am. Helped lead programmer VB.NET, created various random internally. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah. I think with a lot of people, you end up using whatever programming language you need to do for work. I will give you guys an example. I actually used to be a Linux guy. I was one of those crazies. And by crazies, I don't just mean Linux guys are crazies. I mean I was crazy for a Linux guy because I actually ran Gen 2 Linux, which, for those of you that don't know, that's one of the versions of Linux where you're basically compiling everything from source code. So I was one of those crazy people that wanted to spend all their time messing with their computer, which was fun for a while. You learn a lot about how your system actually works when you use it that way. And I was primarily doing Python, C++, and those sorts of things. And then I got a job working for a company that did .NET. And so I went and learned C# and .NET. And then like a year later, I think I got my first... no, it was 2 years later, I got my first Microsoft MVP award. And... have pretty much been in the .NET camp since then. I do a lot of JavaScript. I do mobile development, web development. I've done client development. I've used various different languages for different companies since then even. But my wheelhouse is definitely C# and .NET. I really enjoy what that language has to offer. So if you don't know C# and you've only used VB.NET, The Guardian, I would recommend you take a look at C# because it is actually a fantastic language. So I think you'd really enjoy it. Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me at all that those are that you work in WordPress, Magento, and Shopify. And being in PHP space, that's what you're going to end up doing a lot. You use English primarily, Ultralord. There you go. Okay, so that's cool. That means we can get things to run this way. I want to test something really quickly. I want to find out in our bot, in order to get that overlay page to display, did we have to click ping it first? So hype. Okay, it just works now. So clearly we wired up something that made this happen. So that's good. Oh, that's pretty awesome, The Guardian. Yeah, I do enjoy going to a good conference now and again. I do a lot of conferences around the Midwest region, so you can actually find me around that area. So if you've, I don't know where you're based, but I do get around to various things like that, so they're quite fun. Quiet Challenger. Oh, awesome! You're a PowerShell dev. That's really cool. A lot of people don't realize just how powerful PowerShell is now. So I assume you do a lot of probably DevOps stuff and things like that. Or I would wonder what you usually work on as a PowerShell dev, Quiet Challenger. Okay. Ultralord, let me just, I don't have anything to commit. This is what we just committed, Ultralord, so this is when we got it working. So, yeah, okay, that makes sense, Quiet Challenger. A lot of DevOps stuff. You know, Ultralord, you can laugh, but DevOps is actually super, like, if you have a good DevOps guy working with you, it's actually quite nice to have someone that can, take that burden. Yeah, it is a buzzword. You are totally right, Ultralord, but it's a fairly good description of what someone's doing, so. Yes, Ultralord, that's the funny thing, is that, you know, our DevOps people, they take some of the weight off of developers and sysadmins because they live kind of between the two. So I've actually done sysadmin work as well, and I can actually tell you as a developer, it is very useful to have worked as a sysadmin, because you can leverage a lot of that information to help you as a developer. So there's all kinds of things like that. So it's very useful to have experience doing DevOps work, sysadmin work. And in fact, I have a feeling that if you were a developer and you switch to being a sysadmin, you get a lot of the same kinds of advantages because you know more about what's going on the other side of the fence. Yeah, so there you go, Ultralord. Don't underestimate yourself, but one of the funny things is that what I usually describe to people is, as developers, our main goal in everything we do is to try to automate away pretty much everything we do. So that's one of the goals of DevOps, is like automating out the process of dealing with that sort of stuff. So the smartest dude you ever worked with is a sysadmin. You could program better than any of our programmers, do tech support better than anyone, hardware. Well, that's pretty awesome, The Guardian. I have worked with some people that were very smart before. I just remote desktop and reset passwords. Okay, yeah, there's the problem, is a lot of people do end up running into that kind of stuff. But yeah, as I mentioned, Zultralord, if you found a way to automate that process so it was even easier, so you didn't have to remote desktop in, that would be a huge time saver for you. If you could find a way to reset passwords without having to, you know, put as much work into it. Well, as many things as you can. Automate all the things. Yeah, and Quiet Challenge is right. If you're doing a lot of that kind of work, you could automate a lot of things in PowerShell. Oh, okay, good. I was gonna say, like, PowerShell will save you a lot if you're doing that. Okay. So cool, we got that working. I am psyched. We should actually be able to make that happen now. Now I need to get that JavaScript. Oh yeah, see, Snow. I actually like Python a lot. I use it as it's I use it for proof of concepts, things like that, because you can pretty much you know, spike whatever you want in Python really quickly. There you go, Snow. So welcome back, Snow. Glad you're here. I assume you. I saw you followed during the Bill Sempf guested stream. So for anybody who missed it, because Snow mentioned he's a pen tester, we actually had an application security stream on Tuesday this week. So that was kind of fun. We had Bill show up and talked us through some things. So that was kind of fun. And we had some awesome people that showed up in the chat because we mentioned that we were doing an application security stream. So it is something that we're probably going to do more of from time to time, just taking a look at things, because as developers it is important that we, you know, I'll say make Snow's job a little bit harder, because pen testers, one of the ways that they can get into things is through our mistakes as developers in allowing say, you know, the pen tester access to something in our system that they shouldn't be able to get. So as developers, we need to take advantage of the knowledge that's already out there and try and make our systems a little more secure. So it's a very good thing. Okay, so a couple of things that I want to talk to everyone about. So I have mentioned before that all the code we do here on stream we push out to GitHub, and I don't have the bot running right now because I was resetting it. So I'm going to restart the bot really quickly. And I'm going to then give you the link that if you go to github.com/devchatter, you can take a look at all the code that we use here that we do here on the stream. So we push all of that out to GitHub, so you can find everything that we do here. I mean, as long as we didn't like throw it away or something like that, but that's not very common. So most of that code you can actually find out there, which is very fun. If you want to chat with any of the rest of us outside of the stream, I highly, highly recommend you join our Discord, which I just linked in the chat, and you might be able to find a link down below. Discord is a chat application that's commonly used by gamers and Twitch streamers and things like that, and so we use that to be able to communicate, so I'll often post information about stuff there. It's like just a chat application, so think like Slack or something like that, except it's designed for gamers. It's got some fun stuff. It's got Twitch integration, so it's actually pretty nice. Yeah, it's like Slack for gamers. It's a good description of it. So if you want to chat with us, check out Discord there. And that's a good way to talk with us. And if you haven't yet, make sure you click the follow button so that you get notified whenever we go live. Because our streams are fun to watch as a video, but I know a lot of people that can only catch the videos because their timing doesn't work, and they're usually like, oh man, I wish I could make it live. The best way to make sure that you catch our live stream is to follow the channel so you get notified when we go live. So PHP also has the double and triple equals. That's funny. Just like what you have to do in JavaScript. In C#, our equals, unless you overrode the equality operator, is going to be a strict comparison. But even then, it's also kind of weird because C# will do reference comparisons and other things like that, so it gets strange. There's really a lot of intricacies in languages, how they handle equality. It's surprisingly important. So anyway, if you want to get involved in any of our projects, everyone is welcome to. Even if you've never submitted any pull requests to an open source project before, you are welcome to submit one, make issues, anything like that. However you want to contribute to our project, you are welcome to. We love having new people work on things. We often get pull requests from our friends here in the community, so if any of you wanted to contribute to a project, something like that, you can go ahead and take a look at our issue list. This is usually the best way to find it. We don't keep it super up to date, but we try to make sure that there's usually at least something that is in the good first issue category. So if you go to the issues page, go to labels, filter down to good first issues, you should see a handful of things that usually they're ones that aren't necessarily easy, but they don't require a lot of knowledge about how our application works. And so that's what makes them a good first issue for someone. So if you take a look at those, you could find one. Just comment on there and say that you want to work on it, and you can send us a pull request for it. Additionally, you could also just create a new issue with a feature suggestion, or if you notice a bug while using it, that's another great way to let us know about that. The next thing I want to tell you about, our schedule command is really one of the coolest things about the bot that we work on. So our schedule command, which I just used there in the chat, will tell you when our streams take place. And you just pass in the UTC offset that you want to use. Now, not everybody knows what their UTC offset is, so it's hard to get the schedule in your own time zone. So if you don't know that, you can actually just type in schedule and then say a city name. So for example, I could say Chicago. So if I said schedule Chicago, it would come back with Central Daylight Time and tell me that. I could say schedule Miami, and it will come back with what the time is in Miami. Or you could say schedule, I don't know, London. So that's the DevChatter schedule if you are in London. And it'll actually pop back with all those. It makes a call out, figures out where you want it. So you can do countries as well. So if you wanted to do, I don't know, Germany, it will get you, well, hopefully the schedule in Germany seems to have slowed down there a little bit. But either way, that's how the schedule works. So if you do want to check out what your time is wherever you are, that's the best way to do it. And you could also look down below if you're here on Twitch, and we have a little panel down there that will display our time in your given time zone. It figures out where you are, and it'll display that as well. The couple of things I want to mention. So today we had to cancel, so we were going to have a guest stream. We were going to have Chris Woodruff, up in the top corner there, but he's obviously not there today. He had some internet problems, and so we canceled that and did this stream instead today. But we are going to reschedule him probably for next week sometime and see if we can't get him on the stream. Chris is a Microsoft MVP, and he works for JetBrains, which is the company that makes ReSharper and TeamCity and all those other cool things, Rider and a bunch of stuff like that. But he's just going to show up, do some fun code with us. It's probably some ASP.NET Core, so should be fun. And we will have him on the stream. And then we also have some other ones scheduled, so we're still picking topics on some of our guests, and we've got some other guests lined up as well. So a lot of fun stuff coming on the stream. And I want to tell people about Saturday's stream, which is a special one. So if the code that we've been doing here on the stream was a little bit too high level for you, or you're not super familiar with C#, and you want to learn more about how C# works, we're going to do our Learn to Code stream in C# this weekend. So if you or someone you know is either new to programming or new to C# and you want to pick up some of the basics of C#, show up to our Learn to Code in C# series. So that is a, let me find, is our bot still running? Or did the bot crash? Okay. That's annoying. There we go. So if you do want to learn about C#, check out our event there. And if you know anybody else who's interested in learning about C#, we do a regular series here, usually on Mondays and Saturdays, but not every Monday and Saturday. We try to do just one of our streams a week is going to be for the newer programmers. So if you know someone who is interested in learning to program, get them that link, send them over, and we will work with them in learning how to code and learning how to use C#. And if you already know C#, or are just a good programmer and you want to show up and help answer questions and help people learn C# and just join in that discussion, you are also welcome to show up and code along if you like, or just answer questions for people. We have a few simple things to set up. I just posted those in chat. So we just have them install Visual Studio Code, which is a pretty popular editor for doing C# development. But you can. A lot of people also use it for JavaScript, Python. Visual Studio Code is a lightweight text editor that is from Microsoft. It's, I believe, built on Electron. It's similar to Atom, and it's actually a very popular editor to use. And then the other thing that you need to install is the .NET Core SDK, which is what lets you actually run .NET Core code. And the cool thing about this is those setup instructions are going to be the exact same whether you are on Linux, Mac, or Windows. So .NET Core is now cross-platform, so you can take a look at those there. Last thing that I want to talk about. Why did I close that? Why I closed it is not what I wanted to chat about. So yeah, so we have that scheduled. And if you do follow the events link, it's just going to get you here. The cool thing about it is you can actually get reminders for these individual events. So if you want to get reminded when our Learn to Code in C# series is happening, you can click Remind Me here, and that is separate from following the channel. So you're welcome to follow the channel if you want, but if not, the alternate way to get that information is to click on Remind Me over here, and it will just let you know about those ones. So the beginner programmers don't have to subscribe to our channel if they don't want to, because we might do some things that are a little bit high level. Now, I still welcome them to join that, because especially as they learn C#, more of our stuff is going to make sense, and that is what we're going to get there. Psych Chaos, I'm guessing is how that's pronounced, but if not, let me know, like Psyche Chaos maybe. We do a lot of interesting things with structuring our application here, so if you want to learn about structure, we spend a lot of time working on application like structure here. So we try to build a well-structured application. So that's actually why you'll hear me complain sometimes that I don't want to do something that I'm doing, and I'll usually come back and fix that. But we have what's called either a clean architecture or onion architecture or a lot of other things. There are a lot of names to describe the type of architecture that we have for our application here. So if you do want to learn more about structuring this, I would recommend you take a look at some of our earlier videos, which you can find out on YouTube, for how we actually built this application from scratch. Psyche. I'm actually going to do a series on Solid, so we're going to do one episode per principle in the Solid principles. So if anyone is interested in that, I haven't created the event yet, but make sure you click the follow button here so that you do get alerted to those. But I am going to be doing a series of streams where we cover a single Solid principle at a time. So we're going to start from with an example application, and I'm going to show you things that are following and not following each principle, and it's surprisingly difficult to actually do that, because if you're following them, and thank you for following, if you are following the Solid principles, you usually have to follow more than one in order to make it happen. Snow, my streams are usually 2 to 3 hours long. We're a little bit beyond that right now. We're at 3 hours 15 minutes right now, so usually 2 to 3 hours. The Thursday ones are usually the longer ones if I can. But Mondays and Tuesdays, the stream's about 2 hours long, maybe 2.5. And then on Thursdays, I sometimes go a little bit longer because I can. And then Saturday streams, again, 2 to 3 hours, somewhere in that range. So that is the idea there. And when I do that, I am going to create a Twitch event. So if you want to get reminders specifically on the solid ones, I will be making announcements about that as I stream. And another good spot to get that info is on Twitter. So if you check us out there, that will work as well. Okay, so I am actually going to wrap up the stream here. Let me check and see if there's anybody to host any programmers hosted going right now that I know. Well, I don't see anybody to host right now, so well, we might wrap up without hosting anybody. So, bummer. Well, I guess that's the good reason to be streaming while I'm streaming. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for showing up today. I've got a lot of people I want to thank. I want to make sure that I thank Nibble, C# Fritz, Code Rush, Little Fire Studio, all for the hosts. Greatly appreciated. We got a bunch of follows from everybody. I should have mentioned everybody when they followed to thank them for that. But it is all greatly appreciated. So thank you everybody who was chatting today and following along. I really appreciate all the attention and everything. Quiet Challenger, thank you for the Twitch Prime subscription. Zultralord, thank you for the Tier 3 sub. And Sistane, I'm guessing, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. Oh, and I don't think I said, was that Yamango? Just guessing on the name there, but thank you as well. Thank you for following. We really appreciate it here. We're trying to build an awesome developer community. And if you do want to be more involved in that developer community, I do recommend that people join our Discord. I just linked that again. That's the best way to keep in touch with the rest of us here on DevChatter, because there are a lot of us that are in there and chatting from time to time outside of the stream about different things about code that are interesting. So some people were talking about C# 8 yesterday, discussions of .NET and other things like that. So if you have any interests that you want to chat with other developers about, that's the place to do it. And anyway, I think I got all the thank yous. Yeah, that sounds great. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you all again on Saturday when we do our Learn to Code stream. And if I don't see you then I will catch you on Monday and Tuesday of next week. So take care. Enjoy your weekend. Bye, everybody.